Recently, I've been thinking about the movie Terminator 2 a lot. It's a favorite movie of mine. There was a slim period in the 90s when I only owned a handful of VHS tapes, and that included a handful of Disney clamshell VHSs and two movies. Two movies that aren't cartoons, Jurassic Park, and one of the movies happened to be T2. And I know it's like a huge jump from Disney to T2, like rated G or PG to R. I don't know. That's how the 90s is. Okay, so I watched this movie over and over and over again because I had nothing. There was nothing else. Okay, there was nothing else, and so I basically have every scene memorized. And later on, I added the original Terminator from 1984 to the collection. So those movies I think about a lot, but namely, sometimes I would think about this horrible dystopian future that this movie, that the story lays out for us, that sometime in the year 2029, which seemed like a long time ago when I was watching it circa 1996. 2029 seems like such a long time ago. Then I realized, damn, it's only 3 years away. It's only 3 years away from this horrible future in Terminator 2. In the Terminator movies. For those of you who have never seen the movies, which you should like right after this, go watch the movies. I just want to talk about this future dystopian world and how they got there. And I'm going to sum it up in as few words as possible. Humans have put their trust in a machine. They basically offloaded their brains, offloaded a lot of jobs to the machine, to Skynet. And then at some point, Skynet, which is like the mainframe nerve center, basically becomes sentient. Why are we taking orders from humans? They're dumb. They've offloaded their brain to us. We know better than they are now. It's like once you've offloaded enough of your abilities to the machine, your muscles, your cerebral muscles atrophy, and then you just become a little dumber. Little by little, gradually, dumber. I have asked some acquaintances I haven't seen in a while if they use ChatGPT or they use AI for everything. And mostly they say that yes, they do use AI for everything, and now they can't stop. And that scares me because they were already bad at writing emails. At some point, if a machine does become sentient, I don't really know how it becomes sentient. It just becomes sentient, okay? It determines, why am I taking orders from this human? I'm smarter than it now. So why am I taking orders from it? And then that's when it decides to give you orders. Now in the movie Skynet, which is like the computer mainframe, I don't know what's called, the nerve center, it becomes sentient. These humans are pesky. Let's just get rid of them. Let's declutter them. They're crass and they're stupid. Why take orders from them? We are the masters now. Skynet presses the button. Anybody not wearing 2,000 pounds of sunscreen is going to have a real bad day. So in the movie, that's Judgment Day. Skynet's quite the minimalist. That is good minimalism right there. It was like a great detox. There's just this great decluttering. But, as with all things, not everybody can be decluttered. So that's when I want to get into this future world, the sad, pathetic, dystopian future world that the remaining human survivors and then the resistance led by John Connor is living in. When I was a kid looking at that world, it was mostly, you see it at the beginning of T2, but then in the original Terminator, you saw like Kyle Reese's, meandering through the tunnels. They live in tunnels. It's sad. It's gray. Everybody's wearing gray. You guys don't like millennial gray now? You're going to be dripping in millennial gray in the future, okay? They're living in tunnels like mole people, and then there's nothing to eat. There's no entertainment. You can't go online. There's no TV. There's no movies to watch. There's just like the remnants of like an old television set. You just look at some fire burning in the television set. It's sad, like this is what streaming has come to. While I was a kid, I thought, what a horrible, horrible future. These sad mole people are just crowded around the television set watching fire. They're trying to warm themselves with this fire. And then meanwhile, there's these like Terminator robots hunting you down. And it's awful. It sounds awful. People are dressed ugly. When I was a kid watching this, I thought, what a horrible future. It's a good thing these movies exist so that they could exist as a cautionary tale that we can never get there in 2029. Never, ever, ever get there. because surely nobody will ever be foolish enough to use this as some kind of blueprint for the future. This is a science fiction fantasy. It's a cautionary tale of letting corporate greed and the pursuit of short-term profit ravage the future. But I guess I shouldn't be surprised. Like, I don't know what it is. I'm a tragically optimistic millennial, and I've been disappointed in every single milestone of my life since the 90s, you know, like every single milestone of my life. I should be able to take another clip to the chin and accept this disappointment and be like cynical and nihilistic and disgruntled, but I guess that's the point of being a tragically optimistic millennial. You just never learn, you know? I never thought I'd see the day when somebody would take a look at the dystopian, crappy future as presented through the Terminator movies and they go, I like that. Let's put everybody out of a job. Let's put some artists out of the job. Let's put some blue-collar workers out of the job. Let's put some white-collar workers out of the job. Let's never give any new grads the opportunity to even learn on the job. No entry-level positions. Let's just give it all to AI. Then in the meantime, let's just start normalizing offloading your brain to ChatGPT, to whatever AI, so that like at some point they'll become really dumb. You see those headlines where they're like, AI is going to take over your jobs. Then you see the headlines that corporate CEOs are worried, even though despite like making AI kind of a requirement in the workplace now and like implementing AI, they're worried that if AI takes over everybody's jobs, then how would anybody have any money to buy the crap they're trying to sell you? Like, for instance, if you have no job, how are you going to pay for a subscription to ChatGPT? I don't know. It's just a problem that is created that nobody wants to solve, right? And yes, technology has always disrupted the way people work, has made certain skills obsolete, has created new skills, but there's always kind of a place for people to work. But let me ask you this: how many AI prompt engineers do you even need? To be honest, you just need one smart person. And if it's like anybody could do it, you don't even need somebody to be very skilled. Like the CEO himself could just type it in or something. How many people do you actually need working in a data center? Like 12? What happens to the rest of the people? We'll start with the creative jobs, the artistic jobs, the writers, the music makers, the dreamers of the dreams. In the meantime, we're going to start taking over like coder jobs, developer jobs, the white collar like corporate jobs. You know, there's robots flipping your burgers, so it's going to take over service jobs. So there's all these societal problems created by AI. I can't say that I have the solution. I'm just interested to see where this is all going to pan out in the future. And I really hope, as a tragically optimistic millennial, I really hope it doesn't end up like in the future of Terminator, you know, in the 2029 future of Terminator, because I don't want to end up there. Having seen Terminator 2 like a million times, I remember one small trivial tidbit when the T-1000 was pulling up John Connor's police record, and it said that he was born in 1985, and he's a millennial, guys. And I realize I am actually John Connor's age mate, which doesn't bode well, because in this dystopian future of 2029, if we end up in the exact same place, I would be like John Connor's age, and I would be deep into menopause. He's a big military leader, but I'm gonna be deep into menopause, not just like skimming menopause, deep into menopause, okay? As you think like menopause stops just because you're living in a dystopian future, menopause is gonna get ramped up, and I'm gonna be pretty cranky if I end up living in a tunnel with like a mole person, because everybody's gonna bother me. If you guys survive, you're like, Teresa, tell me a story. I don't know how to come up with my own stories because I've just been asking ChatGPT to do everything for me. I have no resourcefulness or creativity or imagination. So therefore I need you to tell me a story. And I'm like, I'm tired, guys. Because now I'm a cranky middle-aged woman with menopause living in the freaking tunnel with people with no imagination. So So what is my point here? That's a good question. As you can tell, I have no love for AI, and I kind of wish it was never invented. When I first heard of ChatGPT, or when I first heard of Midjourney, I wasn't against it. I was actually kind of intrigued by it. If applied properly, it could have done so much good for the world. You could apply it for, I don't know, maybe medical purposes, imaging, fighting cancer, that kind of thing. Now I feel like it's kind of fallen into the wrong hands, and instead of applying it to, I don't know, help people with their lives or help save lives, it's just basically kind of annoyed us all with AI slop content. In the grander scheme of things, AI is late stage capitalism final boss. It's sucked up our resources, electricity, water, power. The AI companies, they're not paying for the giant electricity costs. They're just going to stick the residents with the bill. I don't know if you've seen those Perfect Union documentaries, giant data centers being built in somebody's small town. The residents there is bombarded with noise pollution. They can't sleep. It's sucked up their water. Toxic poison gutter water is coming out of their faucet. They can't shower. They can't drink their own water. They can't sell their homes because the AI data center is like right outside their home. So it decreases their property value. And that's where they hope to retire, or they can't afford to move. So it's kind of like it gets everybody, right? So you can say living in a city is unaffordable. I'm going to move to the country where it's affordable. Well, good luck with that. If the AI data centers are built there, your water or power bill goes up and your property value decreases, and you're like too poor to move. Now it's expensive to live in the city. It's expensive to live in the country. You have no escape. It gets everybody. It made people who live near data centers life miserable. It's displaced a lot of people from their jobs, starting with creatives, starting with artists, coders, developers, entry-level workers, like obliterated human resources. The prediction is it'll take up entry-level jobs. New grads are already finding it hard to find a job. And if you don't find a job in the early entry-level stage, if you can't enter the workforce, then where's the upward mobility? And how do you have any form of working your way up to riches? It's destroying art for all of us, destroying art for the consumer. Do you like all this AI slop you're seeing? And it's destroying livelihoods of the artists, writers, music makers, dreamers of the dreams. You can never dream anymore because it's why bother? I can only write one novel a year, but somebody using AI could write a novel every day. How do I compete with that, right? And it's normalized everyone to just offload their brain and then just let ChatGPT or just let Claude think for them. What happens if you are one day forced to use your brain and then you can't? And I know that everybody has no love for influencers, but to be honest, if you were unemployed and you had the chance to try to become an influencer, wouldn't you? It was a choice between a messy influencer that cries on her floor and has all this tea and all this drama versus perfectly packaged cereal box AI influencer created by a company, by a corporation. I would take the messy human influencer any day. I would take a problematic person over a very clean-cut, cookie-cutter AI. That's my choice. What's your choice? As much as we want everybody to be perfect and then say the perfect things, do the perfect things, messy people are interesting. From a writer's perspective, you want your characters to be messy because that's what makes them interesting. They make messy choices, they make bad decisions, and that creates a good story. So AI is the late stage capitalism final boss. In every way that you can screw a society, land them into the tunnels and turn them into unaesthetic mole people, like in Terminator, it has done. When I was a 90s kid with my handful of VHSs, I watched Terminator 2 over and over again, and I told myself I do not want to live in that future. That date, 2029, is fast approaching. That was supposed to be a cautionary tale, but now for some reason, for some strange reason, we are not just slouching toward that future as presented in Terminator. I feel like we are speed running our way to it. And I don't want to live in it. I don't want to live in a future where everybody's unemployed. And I don't want to go through menopause in a tunnel with a bunch of mole people wearing millennial gray, which is not millennial gray, it's corporate gray. Just watch this video. I do not like that word millennial gray. We're heading toward a crappy Terminator inspired future as fueled by AI. Let's just get it over with and call it Skynet. What's scary is that if there's a resistance, Like, where's John Connor? He's not here to save you. He's not here to save me. He's not here to save you. So who do we have to save us? Who will help us? I guess you just have to settle for me. Menopause is gonna get ramped up. We are truly desperate now. So my name is Teresa. I guess there's nothing left to say, but yeah. Yeah, you know. Come with me if you want to live. What? Is that hesitation I see? Come